professional women, stay-at-home moms. I love how women put the family first. I love how you're so concerned that I'll get to your husband. You have no idea that I'm coming after you.
Make death wait. Please donate to fund life-giving research, because heart disease and stroke is the #1 killer of women.
It's one day to buy a car and the rest of the years to have service.
I feel confident with Maitland.
Welcome to your ONNtv news desk. I'm here today with Linda Savory-Gordon. How are you, Linda?
Just great. Good to see you.
Awesome. And we are talking about trains today. So, Linda's on the CAPT board, the Coalition for Algoma Passenger Trains. Now, primarily you guys are working on the ACR initiative, correct? The Algoma Central?
As well as I'm also on the Northeastern Ontario Rail Network, and so we're working on the whole loop of passenger rail service in Northeastern Ontario.
And so can you tell us an update on where the initiative is at? I know, for those of you who don't know, I used to work pretty closely with CAPT in my old job, so I definitely have a great appreciation for the lobbying that goes into what you guys are doing. Have you heard any response from the government on whether they're interested in funding this train or not, or what's going on?
Riley, that's the most frustrating part, because as you know, everything else has been done. All of the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Chief Jason Gauthier and Missinabee Cree First Nation, they have done a business plan. They've been part of the socioeconomic impact study. They now have a railway operating certificate and a safety plan. So everything is ready to go to run that train, except for the funding from the federal government, which they gave for years before. Nothing has changed as to the status of that area, but they just are not willing to invest in it the way they invest in other parts of like Ontario, Southern Ontario.
So all the nuts and bolts are in place for this to be a reality, the train from Sault Ste. Marie to Hearst.
Right.
Where does that leave you guys looking now?
Well, we're trying very hard to arrive at a meeting with Minister Mark Garneau. So our co-chair, Howie Wilcox, sent a communication to our MP, to both MPs actually, Terry Sheehan, to arrange to have a meeting with the minister. We haven't heard back from him. Meanwhile, a letter was also sent to MP Carol Hughes, and she said that she will be looking into that right away.
So it's on the docket of these, it's on the agenda of these politicians to kind of push this up a little bit higher.
And I think that the fact that they're close to another election might
get some promises.
Yes, we're
right.
hoping.
But whether they'll follow through on these promises is another story.
Right.
Now that kind of brings me to my question about the provincial government, because Premier Doug Ford, on his campaign trail, made a lot of promises about renewing, rail in the north, and that was something when I spoke with Joe Fertizzi yesterday about the Huron Central. He said, that's something that they got that promise, and they're really hoping to see some follow through on it. Have you heard anything from the provincial end?
Unfortunately, we haven't, but we do have a good photo op of the Premier with one of our spokespeople, Lucille Frith, and Vic Fideli, the Finance Minister, right during the election, promising that they would bring back passenger train service in Northern Ontario. So we're going to be keeping after them and holding them to account. Obviously, things were a little slower during the summertime, but now that the fall is here, we're going to be
really pushing that.
Yes.
Now, you took part in a series that was done by the Northern Policy Institute.
Right.
And for those of you who don't know, the Northern Policy Institute, they essentially help to advise on policy.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because it does correlate to this whole rail.
Right. The Northern Policy Institute was set up to be a sort of like a think tank and to gather data and so on for politicians when they're deciding policies for Northern Ontario.
Right.
And so we were delighted that we had this opportunity to have a commentary. It's their latest commentary on passenger rail service, and the vision that we have for restoring passenger service on the existing tracks that are there. It's not asking a lot in the sense that we're not asking for something new to be built. It's just putting passenger service back on these tracks that are being used currently for freight.
So that was a great opportunity for you guys to put your input in that. And actually we did a release on Sioux Online from the Northern Policy Institute, and the article is linked, so anybody who wants to go and read it, it is available. Now, we're going to come back after this break, and we're going to talk with Linda a little bit about their next fundraiser coming up for CAP. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break. See how fast it goes?
Prescription drugs. When used properly, they can help. But last year, more than 80,000 Canadian kids used them to get high, even though it can be very dangerous. Prescription drug abuse. It can damage a teen for life. Get the facts and talk with your kids about prescription drug abuse. Visit canada.ca/drug prevention. A message from the Government of Canada.
I love women. I love older women, professional women, stay-at-home moms. I love how women put the family first. I love how you're so concerned that I'll get to your husband. You have no idea that I'm coming after you.
Make death wait. Please donate to fund life-giving research, because heart disease and stroke is the #1 killer of women.
The huge summer mattress clear-out sale is on now at Mio's Furniture, Fashions and Sleep Gallery. Save 50 to 70% off Sealy Posturepedic mattresses. Luxury queen mattresses starting at just $4.99. Purchase a Tempur-Pedic mattress and get 2 free Tempur-Pedic pillows. Mio's offers free delivery, free setup, and free disposal. Mio's Furniture, Fashions and Sleep Gallery has the best prices in Canada. Hurry in today for the best selection. Mio's Furniture, Fashions and Sleep Gallery. Service before and after the sale. 261 Trunk Road. Some conditions apply. See store for full details.
Welcome back to your ONNtv news desk. I am here with Linda, and we're talking about trains now. Something that actually, the whole reason I even brought you in here was I wanted to talk about your calendars that you guys do every year. Right. All the proceeds go towards helping with these lobbying efforts.
That's right.
So, what's the deal with the calendars? How can people get one? How can people send in pictures? What's going on?
Well, this year the theme, every year we have a slightly different theme, and this year it's the bridges on the Algoma Central Railway, pictures of either trains on the bridges or people waiting at bridges or whatever. Last year our theme was about children, and,
that was awesome.
Trains are for the future generation. But this year we thought some people are very interested in just the actual structure of the line and some so it'll be a combination of historical and current pictures of the bridges along the line.
And when can people submit photos until?
They can do them, well, we're hoping to get it finished by sometime early October, so probably within the next couple of weeks is really the key time. And they can be sent, digital images can be sent to capped trains at captrains.ca.
And that's how people can get in touch with you guys to send in photos or find out how they can buy a calendar.
That's right.
How much do the calendars usually go for?
Lately they've been, trying to remember, it's not terrible. I think it's been $15. Yeah. And the interest is huge. It's a really great way to stay in touch with supporters from all over the continent, because already I have orders for this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there are people who've been buying like 10 for their various friends or family and so on. So they say, okay, reserve another 10 for me this year.
That's
and
awesome.
So, yeah.
And you sell them like all along the rail line too, right?
Oh, yes.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, we definitely sell them in the different communities between here and Hearst, Wawa, the First Nations. And as I say, we mail them out to across the continent.
And I think it's a really great way too to kind of instill the sense of pride in like people who love trains, like love trains,
They
right?
do,
So
yeah.
to have that, and it's local history too,
Right.
Which, you know, it's how often do you see a calendar with like such specific, like such a niche, you know,
Yeah.
to Northern Ontario as well.
It's something they can put up in their kitchen or wherever, and it just keeps it alive for them, and the hope that it's going to
It's gonna
start
come back.
running again.
It's
yeah.
going to chug back along the tracks. So tell us a little bit about how the proceeds help you guys in what you do.
Well, we try to have meetings with policymakers, also keeping in touch with the different communities around Northeastern Ontario that are trying to get the trains back for their own use. So when we travel, it's very expensive. Like we have to pay for travel and accommodation, because when you go somewhere in Northeastern Ontario, you can't go and come back the same day usually. It's like I just came back from Cochrane to a meeting there, and that takes about like 7 hours in each direction of driving, and since we don't have trains to get us there,
Just
then
overnight.
stay overnight.
And then not to mention, you know, for those who don't know, CAPT is a volunteer board, so
Yes,
it's all on your own time,
Yeah.
and sometimes it can end up being on your own dollar, right? So that's why.
Yeah, it very often is on our own dollar, and then some. We're hoping that if we are able to have a meeting in Ottawa with Marc Garneau, that we'll be able to have some kind of vehicle and take people there and
Who want to take part.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's awesome. So if people want to buy a calendar or get in touch, they can go to captrains.ca.
Right.
And on that site, you can also find more information about all the initiatives that CAPT is a part of, as well as NEORN, the Northeastern Ontario Rail Network. There's interactive maps, there's some commentary, there's photos, there's a lot to see on that website, so I recommend that you guys check it out. Linda, thank you for coming in. I wish you all the best on this initiative.
And thank you for giving us this opportunity
of course.
to
and
let the public know.
Absolutely, and keep us posted as, you know, as these develop.
Right.
We'll be following the story on Sioux Online and ONNtv. Stay tuned for more news coming up after this.
They kind of treat you like family.
You know, I like how the sales department is always linked with the service department.
It's actually like visiting friends.
Just good people to deal with. Otherwise, you wouldn't be coming back.
There's no way I'll get any other service like that anywhere else. I know I won't, so I keep coming here.
Go and see for yourself.
Family